to English Channel!
Hello and welcome back to the Deep Dive. If you are a regular listener, you know the drill. We usually take this massive stack of reports or articles or books and we distill them down into something you can use. But today, we are pivoting. We're doing something a little bit special, specifically for a very important part of our audience.
A very important part. We're talking about you, the English learner.
Exactly.
That's right. We know a huge portion of you tune in not just for the information we're breaking down, but, to practice your listening skills, to hear the rhythm of the language.
Yeah, to get that natural flow.
So today, we're going to honor that. We're slowing the pace down, just a fraction, and we are focusing entirely on a topic that is, I would argue, the most valuable tool in a language learner's toolkit.
We are talking about the daily routine.
The daily routine. That sounds mundane, doesn't it? A little boring, even.
It really does.
Yeah.
When I first looked at the source material for this week, which comes from a 3-part script series by the Mr. English channel, I'll be honest, I was a little skeptical. I saw the titles, morning, commute, evening, and I thought, okay, I wake up, go to work, I come home. Where is the deep insight here?
Right. What is there to dive into?
But as I read through the dialogue between the characters, Emily and Paul, I realized I was looking at it all wrong.
You were looking at it as a native speaker.
Exactly.
As someone who takes all these little words and phrases for granted. But for a learner, the daily routine it's the battlefield. It is where fluency is won or lost.
That's a great way to put it. Because you can learn the vocabulary for, say, photosynthesis or macroeconomics, and you might use those words, once a year?
If you're lucky.
But the words for waking up, making coffee, catching the bus, you live those every single day.
Every single day. This is what we call high-frequency vocabulary. And if you can master the script of your own life, the things you do on autopilot, you build a foundation of fluency that supports everything else.
It's like if you can't describe your breakfast, you definitely can't describe a complex business strategy.
Precisely. That puts it into perspective.
So here is our roadmap for today. We have these 3 scripts, right? Featuring Emily and Paul. They take us through a full 24-hour cycle.
The whole day.
And we're going to break down their day. But we aren't just summarizing the plot. We are going to, stop the tape, so to speak, and analyze the grammar, the specific vocabulary choices, and even the pronunciation secrets hidden inside.
We're going to look at why they say what they say. We're going to look at the mechanics of the language itself.
Okay, so let's start at the very beginning. The alarm rings. It is morning.
Part 1, the morning routine.
So the script opens with a distinction that it seems simple, but it trips up so many learners. It's actually quite subtle.
It really is.
It's the difference between 2 phrasal verbs, wake up and get up.
Yes. This is the first hurdle of the day. And in many languages, French, Spanish, German, there's often just one reflexive verb that covers the whole process of starting the day.
Right, like I wake myself up.
Exactly. But English splits it. It splits it into 2 distinct phases.
So let's look at the source text. Emily asks Paul about his morning, and they get into this specific debate. How does the text define wake up?
Wake up is defined as the mental shift. It is the moment consciousness returns.
Okay.
Your eyes open, you are no longer asleep, but, and this is the key detail, you have not moved yet.
You are horizontal, you are in bed.
Precisely. You are mentally present, but physically you are still under the covers.
And then we have get up.
And get up is the physical action. It implies a change in position. In English, the particle up so often suggests a movement from a lower position to a higher one.
Like stand up.
Stand up, sit up, get up. It means your feet hit the floor and you are physically leaving the bed.
The script gives a great example of this lag time. Paul says, I wake up at 7 points, but I get up at 7.15.
That 15-minute gap, it is universal, isn't it? I think we all live in that gap.
We absolutely do. And it leads us to a really interesting cultural artifact that gets mentioned in the text, the snooze button.
Ah, the snooze button.
Paul describes the snooze button in a way that I think is just. It's poetic. He calls it my best friend and my worst enemy.
That is a fantastic phrase. And for you listening, that is one to memorize. My best friend and my worst enemy. It just perfectly captures a complex emotion ambivalence in a very simple, very natural idiom.
So why does he feel this way? Why is it both?
Well, just think about the psychology of the snooze button. It's your best friend because it grants you that little reprieve. The text says it gives you 10 more minutes of sleep.
It feels like a gift. A little bonus.
It does, but it's your worst enemy because it's a trap. It just delays the inevitable. It actually makes the act of getting up so much harder each time.
It's a very relatable struggle. Now, I want to pivot here to the grammar. As Emily and Paul are discussing these habits, waking up, hitting the snooze button, getting out of bed, they are consistently using one specific verb tense.
Yes, they are. They're using the present simple tense.
I wake up, I get up, I hit the snooze button.
Right. And this is where a lot of learners get into trouble. There's a real temptation to use the present continuous.
They want to say, I am waking up at 7, or I am usually eating cereal.
I hear that a lot.
So why is that wrong? If I'm describing my life, why can't I use that continuous form?
It's a great question. It's because the continuous form, I am waking up, implies that it is happening right now at this exact second.
Okay.
Or that it's a temporary situation. But a routine is, well, it's seen as permanent. It is a fact about your life. It happens every day. And in English, for facts and habits, we must use the present simple.
So if I'm on the phone with you and I say, I am driving to work, it means I am in the car right now at this moment.
Exactly. But if I say I drive to work, it means that is my method of commuting in general. I could be sitting at home on the sofa right now, but it's still a fact about my life.
Wow, that's a crucial distinction. It shifts the meaning from current action to something more like identity or habit.
Precisely. The source material really emphasizes this. For routines, keep it simple. Always use the present simple.
Okay, so we have physically gotten up. We are out of bed. Now we get into the specific actions of the morning. The text mentions 2, stretching and making the bed.
Let's talk about make the bed. This is a collocation, a pair of words that go together that confuses people because of the verb make.
Right, because usually we do chores, we do the dishes, we do the laundry. Why do we make the bed? I mean, we aren't building it with a hammer and nail.
No, you're not constructing it, but the verb make in English often implies creating something or arranging something into a finished, orderly state.
Oh, I see.
When you make the bed, you are taking a mess of sheets and pillows and creating order. You're making it presentable.
So it's about the results, the finished product.
Yes, whereas do tends to focus on the activity itself. Do the dishes focuses on the process of washing. Make the bed focuses on the result of a tidy bed.
I like that distinction. That helps a lot. Okay, now moving to the kitchen. The most important meal of the day.
Breakfast.
And we see a split here between Emily and Paul. A classic divide. Emily eats cereal. Paul needs coffee.
And Paul says something very dramatic. He says, I can't function without coffee.
I can't function. That's a strong statement.
It is, but it's a very common hyperbole in English. To function means to operate correctly. You know, a machine functions, a computer functions. So Paul is saying he is like a broken machine until he has that caffeine.
I think we have all been there. I know I have. But here's where the deep dive gets really technical. The source material actually pauses the story here to give us a fluency secret. And it focuses on how we actually say these simple words.
This is so important. This is the difference between what you see on the page and what you hear in the real world.
So the text mentions contractions first. It's a simple one. Paul says you shouldn't say I am, you should say I'm.
This is vital. I mean, if you're writing a formal essay, I am is perfectly fine. But in spoken English, if you say I am waking up, I am tired, you sound robotic.
A little stiff.
Very stiff. You sound distant. Native speakers almost always contract pronouns and verbs I'm, your, he's.
It creates a rhythm, a flow.
It does. But the bigger secret here, and this is the one that I think will really help you, our listeners, is the concept of linking and something called the flap T.
Okay, let's unpack the flap T. This is specifically for American English, right?
Yes, and since our source material uses American English, this is key. Let's look at the phrase get up. G-E-T space U-P.
Get up.
If you pronounce it like a robot, it's get up with a hard, crisp T sound.
Get up.
But in conversational American English, when a T sound comes between two vowel sounds, it changes. It becomes soft. It actually sounds like a D.
So get up becomes get.
Get up, exactly. Just listen to the difference. I get up at 7 versus I get up at 7. The second one just flows. It's smooth.
It connects the words together. It's like one word instead of two.
Exactly. And the source material points out that wake up also links. The K sound at the end of wake jumps over and connects to the up.
So it sounds like wake up.
Wake up.
So the full sentence isn't I wake up, it's I wake up.
I wake up. I get up. When you can start hearing English as these streams of connected sound rather than separate bricks of words, your listening comprehension just skyrockets.
That is such a pro tip. It's a game changer. Okay, let's move to part 2. We are dressed, we are caffeinated, and now we have to leave the house.
The commute. Time to go to work.
This is where we see a big divergence in the vocabulary because Emily and Paul have different modes of transport.
Right. Emily drives a car. Paul takes the bus.
Let's talk about the prepositions here because
Why?
this is a nightmare for learners. The text says Paul is on the bus, but Emily is in the car. Why?
This is the classic on versus in debate for transport. And there is actually a rule here. It's a little trick that makes it easy to remember.
Oh, please share it. This is exactly what we're here for.
It's what I call the stand-up rule.
The stand-up rule. Okay.
Generally speaking, if the vehicle is large enough for you to stand up and walk around inside it, you are on it. You are on a bus. You are on a train. You are on a plane. You are on a ship.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
You walk onto the platform or onto the deck.
Exactly. But if the vehicle is small and you have to kind of crouch down and sit inside a small box, you are in it. So you are in a car, you are in a taxi, you are in a helicopter.
That is surprisingly consistent. I've never heard that rule before, but it works for everything I can think of. So Paul is on the bus and Emily is in the car.
Correct. And this choice of transport dictates what they can do with their commute time. The source material highlights this beautifully.
Right. Emily says she listens to podcasts.
Which is very meta for us right now.
Chuckles. It is.
And it makes sense, right? Her eyes are on the road, her hands are on the wheel, she can only use her ears.
But Paul has his hands free. He's a passenger. So the text says he might check emails or scroll through social media.
I want to focus on that phrasal verb for a second. Scroll through.
It's very visual.
It is. The word scroll comes from, the old days of paper scrolls, but now it refers to that very specific motion of your thumb on a touch screen.
Right, up and down.
And the word through implies movement from one end to the other, or just browsing without a specific goal.
It also implies a certain casualness, doesn't it? You don't study social media. You scroll through it. It feels passive.
It's what we do to kill time. And speaking of time, they arrive at work. The script says they start work at 9:00 a.m.
Now, the source doesn't bore us with the details of their meetings and spreadsheets, but we do need to talk about lunch.
Very important.
The source material draws a line between packing a lunch and eating out.
And this is a cultural distinction as much as it is a linguistic one.
Let's start with pack a lunch. Why the verb pack?
Well, think of packing a suitcase for a trip. You are putting things into a container to take them somewhere else.
I see.
So when Emily packs a lunch, she prepares it at home, puts it in a Tupperware or a bag, and transports it to the office.
And the text notes that she considers this to be healthier.
Which is often true. You have more control. Whereas Paul, he prefers to eat out.
Now, eat out is an interesting phrasal verb because it doesn't mean eating outside like on a park bench.
No, not necessarily. The out here means out of your home or out of your office. It means going to a commercial establishment.
A restaurant, a cafe, a diner.
Exactly. If you say, we're going to eat out tonight, it means we are going to a restaurant.
And Paul mentions he does this to take a break with his colleagues.
Take a break, not have a break, though you will hear that more in British English, and definitely not make a break. In American English, we take breaks, we take naps, we take showers. It's a very strong collocation.
Got it. Okay, this brings us to what I think is the heavy hitter of the second script, the grammar deep dive on frequency adverbs.
Yes. This is where we get specific about our habits.
Up until now, we've just said, I do this or I do that, but life isn't that black and white. Sometimes we do things, sometimes we don't. And the source material breaks this down using percentages, which I find incredibly helpful.
It's the mathematics of habit. It's a great way to think about it.
Yeah.
So let's run through the scale they provide. At the very top, 100% of the time, we have the word always.
Always. No exceptions. I always brush my teeth. If you miss even one day, technically, you can't use always.
It's absolutely. Then we drop down a little bit to about 80%. What do we have there?
We have usually.
Usually?
Usually is your default mode. It's what happens if nothing weird is going on. I usually drive to work, but maybe if your car breaks down one day, you take the bus. So it allows for those rare exceptions.
Okay, that makes sense. Then we get to the messy middle, around 40 or 50%.
That's where you find sometimes.
Right.
Sometimes is the wild card. It's unpredictable. I sometimes eat salad for lunch. Maybe I will today, maybe I won't. Who knows?
And finally, we get to the absolute bottom.
Really?
0%.
That would be never.
0. Not once. ever.
I know it's...
And the text gives a hilarious example here to help us remember this scale. Paul says, I always drink coffee, but I never eat pickles for breakfast.
It's a ridiculous image, isn't it? But that's why it works. Memory loves absurdity. If you can actually imagine a pickle in your bowl of cereal, you will remember the meaning of the word never.
That's very true. Now, I have a question about word order here, because I hear learners mix this up all the time. Where do these words, always, usually never, where do they go in the sentence?
That is the million-dollar question. And the rule is actually quite strict in English, which is helpful.
Okay, lay it on us.
For most verbs, action verbs, the frequency adverb goes before the main verb.
Okay.
So I always drink coffee. I never eat pickles. I usually wake up at 7.
Before the action. Got it.
Exactly. Yeah, and you knew there'd be a but in English. There is one major exception to this rule.
And that is?
The verb to be.
Ah, of course. Am, is, are.
If you are using the verb to be, the frequency adverb comes after the verb. So I am always happy, not I always am happy.
She is never late.
They're usually tired.
So let me see if I have this right. I always run, but I am always fast.
Perfect. That is the rule. If you can master that placement, your English instantly sounds more sophisticated, more natural.
That is a fantastic takeaway.
Okay.
Let's move the clock forward. It's 5:00 p.m. The whistle blows, figuratively. It's time for part 3, the evening.
The transition from work back to home life.
The vocabulary shifts again. The text introduces a great phrasal verb here, head home.
Head home. It's very common, very natural.
Why do we use the word head?
It's interesting. We use body parts as verbs surprisingly often in English. To eye someone is to look at them carefully. To hand someone something is to give it to them.
Oh, right.
And so to head somewhere means to point your head in that direction and go. It's about your intention and your direction.
I'm heading home. I'm heading out for the night.
It implies purposeful movement. You have a destination.
So Emily heads home. And the source says the first thing she does is change her clothes. She puts on comfortable clothes.
This is a ritual for so many people. Shedding the professional skin, becoming your home self again.
But then the work continues, at least the domestic work. The text lists 2 main chores, cooking dinner and doing the dishes.
And there we see that verb do, again for the cleaning task, do the dishes.
And Paul has a very strong opinion here. He says, the dishes are the worst.
I think most people would agree with Paul on that one. But once the chores are done, we get to my favorite concept in the whole script.
Which is?
Winding down.
To wind down. Okay, let's visualize this. What does that mean?
Imagine an old mechanical clock. Or maybe a wind-up toy. To make it work, you have to wind it up. You twist the key tight. That's creating tension. That's storing energy.
Okay.
That is us during the workday. We are wound up. We're tight. We're full of energy and stress.
So winding down is the release of that tension.
Exactly. It's the slow spinning down of the gears until they come to a stop. It's the process of relaxing.
I love that metaphor. And the source text gives us a few different ways to wind down. Emily reads a book or meditates. Paul watches a show on Netflix.
And note the preposition there, on Netflix, not in Netflix. We think of it as a platform, so we are on it, just like we are on the internet or on TV.
Good catch. And finally, the day comes to an end. The sequence is take a shower, go to bed, set the alarm.
And we are back to the alarm. The cycle is complete.
And the final act of the day, fall asleep.
I like that verb, fall. It's not drop asleep. It's not go asleep. It's fall asleep. It implies a surrender. A loss of control as you fall into the state of sleep.
It's very passive. It happens to you.
It does.
So we've covered the what of the routine, all the actions.
Yeah.
But the source material has one final section that covers the how. This is what they call the Fluency Masterclass.
This is the most advanced part of our deep dive today. It moves beyond just single words and phrases into discourse structure, how to tell a story.
Right. It addresses a really common problem that you hear with learners. I call it the robot list.
The robot list, yes. I wake up, I eat, I go, I work, I sleep.
It's grammatically correct. Every sentence is perfect, but it's painful to listen to. It's choppy. It has no flow.
It's like a series of disconnected facts.
So how do we fix it? What is the secret ingredient that the source gives us?
The secret ingredient is transition words, or sequencing words. These are the little bridges you build between your islands of sentences. They connect everything together.
And the text suggests a very specific, very easy to learn formula. First, then, after that, finally.
It's a simple 4-step structure, but it completely transforms your speech. It takes you from a list maker to a storyteller.
Let's hear the difference. The robot first.
Okay, robot version. I wake up, I have coffee, I go to work.
Now, with the transitions.
Human version. First, I wake up, then I have coffee, finally, I go to work.
It immediately sounds like a story. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It flows.
It tells the listener, hey, pay attention, these things are connected. It guides the listener through your timeline. It's like giving them a map of your day.
First, then finally. It's such an easy hack to instantly sound more fluent.
It really is. And speaking of fluency, we have to talk about Emily's advice at the very end of the script. She uses a metaphor that I think is just beautiful.
What does she say?
She says, keep going like a river.
Like a river. Okay, what does she mean by that?
Well, think about a river. Does a river stop when it hits a rock?
No, of course not. It just flows around it.
Exactly. When you are speaking English, you are going to hit rocks. It's inevitable. You are going to forget a word. You are going to use the wrong preposition. You're going to say in the bus instead of on the bus.
And the instinct for so many learners is to freeze, to stop and apologize. Sorry, my English is bad, I mean.
That is building a dam. That stops the flow of communication completely. Emily's advice is, don't stop. Flow around the mistake. Correct it if you can, but keep talking. Keep moving forward.
Because communication is really about connection, not about perfection.
Precisely. If you keep the rhythm, if you keep the melody of the sentence going, the listener will understand you 99% of the time, even with a small mistake. But if you stop, the connection breaks.
So be a river. That is powerful advice.
And she adds one more thing. Smile.
Which seems like just nice, friendly advice, but there is actually a phonetic reason for that, isn't there? A physical reason.
There is. It's amazing. Smiling physically lifts your soft palate and changes the shape of your vocal tract. It actually makes your voice sound brighter and clearer. It physically helps your pronunciation, especially with vowel sounds.
So smiling is actually a fluency strategy. It's a physical tool.
It absolutely is. It relaxes you, it makes you sound more friendly, and it improves your clarity. It's a win-win-win.
We have covered a massive amount of ground today. From the alarm clock all the way to the pillow, from get up to first, then finally.
That's a lot to take in, I know.
Which is why the source material assigns homework. And so we are going to assign it to you, our listener, right now.
Active practice is the key. You cannot learn to swim just by watching videos of swimming. You have to get in the water. So here are your 2 tasks.
Task number 1.
Task number 1 is simple. Write one sentence about your breakfast. Just one, but make it true for you. Use a frequency adverb. Do you always drink coffee? Do you sometimes eat toast? Do you never eat pickles?
And task number 2.
This is the big one. Write 3 sentences describing your day, but you must use the transition words we learned. First, then, finally.
So for me, it might be, first, I recorded a deep dive. Then I learned about frequency adverbs. Finally, I felt like an expert.
I love it. That's perfect.
Now, before we go, I want to leave everyone with one final thought. It comes from the very end of the script. It's a small moment, almost a throwaway line. Paul says, I'm going to get that chocolate cookie now.
Priority. He's been waiting all day.
And Emily says, save one for me.
I think this is so important. We have talked today about discipline. We've talked about routines, alarms, grammar rules. It's all very structured, very serious. But you need the cookie. You need the reward. Language learning is incredibly hard work. It's a marathon. If you don't build in little moments of joy, like watching a show you genuinely like in English, or listening to a fun podcast, or eating a literal chocolate cookie after you finish your homework, you will burn out.
So embrace the routine, but don't forget the cookie. Find the joy in the process.
Structure plus enjoyment equals fluency. That's the real equation.
That is the perfect place to end. Thank you so much for joining us on this special English Learner edition of The Deep Dive. We really hope you found it helpful.
Keep flowing like a river. And practice.
We'll see you next time. Goodbye.